I don't often find myself, as I think you are all acutely aware and perhaps sometimes annoyed, I don't often find myself at a loss for words or unsure of where I want to go. But and I want to be very careful so as not to be offensive to anyone. And I always like to talk about the fact that I believe that we all come to this legislative process as products of our upbringing and environment and our education, and we come from very diverse parts of the state, and we're different. We're different. We have different views and different ideologies, and that's okay. And you hope that the melding of those different views and ideologies here in this body and in the House will lead to good policy. But there's just been so much hurtful rhetoric today. The phrase posing as a woman was used today. These people aren't posing. These people, these young people, we're talking about kids here. These are kids. You think they come to this decision lightly or easily? They're not playing dress up. They are recognizing who they are. We heard testimony about the biological facts and how you may be born and identified as to a certain gender on your birth certificate, but you may have physical parts of your body that are consistent with the other gender. And to hear a group that calls itself the Christian Family Coalition complain that their faith is being discriminated against. Taking a deep breath here, because that angers me to my core. And it is so inconsistent. And the word hypocritical was used earlier today, and I think it was misused in the context it was brought up, but I think it applies to the Christian Family Coalition. Love thy neighbor. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. Those are Christian values. And for them to have the nerve to say that they advance equality, but they feel like their faith is being discriminated against, by what? Because a transgender youth wants to play sports, their faith is being discriminated against? This is why we have separation of church and state. We're all entitled to believe and follow the faith we choose. But that doesn't give us the right to legislate in a discriminatory fashion. And that doesn't give people the right to come up to Tallahassee and give testimony that is flat out hurtful, hiding behind the guise of religious morality. That's offensive. We heard comments claiming offense because of a partisan comment that was made. Guess what? This bill's been filed in 26 states, and every single sponsor is a Republican. That's a fact. We're not making it partisan, but that's a fact. We've heard mentioned today several times that it's International Transgender Day of Visibility. Day of Visibility. Now, the fact that a segment of our society needs a day to be visible, to be cared about, to just be recognized. They formed this day of visibility because before there was only a transgender day of remembrance. Why was there a transgender day of remembrance? Because so many transgender youth and adults were killed or the victims of violence simply because of their transgender status. But rather than just have a day of remembrance of death and sadness, they formed a day of visibility. And we here in the Florida Senate do not currently include any member of the trans community, but I do want to recognize some trans leaders in our government, such as Dr. Rachel Levine, who was recently confirmed as Assistant Secretary for Health, Delaware State Senator Sarah McBride, Kansas State Representative Stephanie Byers, and Vermont State Representative Taylor Small. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your courage in openly recognizing your transgender status. These trans leaders are taking a long overdue and long awaited seat at the table and showing voters that trans people are valuable contributors to our society. And I wanted to take time in my debate to recognize them and thank them for their leadership. Now,
Senator Farmer, I want to be fair. So on the 10-minute rule, you have 1 more minute. So I wanted to make sure I didn't cut you off before.
Chair, I had my phone going here. I started at 10:16 my debate.
You were recognized at, I have it at 10:14, so we're going by that.
I think we were still on the point of parliamentary inquiry.
No, you were recognized in debate, and I gave you the grace of 2 minutes during that discussion. So we're going to go by that.
I believe it's I believe that I have more time than that, Chair.
That's not according to the rules. I'm going strictly by the rules, and I did give you some grace on that, and we're taking up that time now.
The FHSAA regulations, and I have them here as well, state all eligible students should have the opportunity to participate in interscholastic athletics in a manner that is consistent with their gender identity and expression, irrespective of the gender listed on a student's birth certificate and/or records. That's our policy. That's the state of Florida's policy. The regs go on to provide for physicians with experience in identity health, psychiatrists, psychologists, mental health professionals, school administrators. All are part of the current regulatory scheme that determines whether or not an athlete should be allowed to participate. We do not have a problem here. There is no problem. 11 total athletes in the state of Florida's history have sought approval from the FHSAA to engage in sports.
Thank you, Senator.
There are thousands of other transgender students out there that want the right to live their lives. Sports is such an important part of growing up.
Thank you, Senator
It teaches us, I'm almost done, Chair. I'm almost done. Sports teach us teamwork, friendship, learning from success and failure, camaraderie. These transgender students, they just want to be normal. They want to do the things that they did before that brought them joy and happiness.
Thank
We
you,
should
Senator
not
Farmer.
be taking that away from them. Huh?
Thank you.